What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into a live Falcons Today. We've got a lot to talk about following the trade of Taylor Heinicke. It opens up a roster spot, so there could be an addition made like a wide receiver potentially. So we're going to run through everything we were hearing so far following the Taylor Heinicke trade. Then we're going to get into a game-by-game prediction for the Falcons because the last time we did that, Justin Simmons and Matthew Judon were not on the roster. I think those are pretty significant additions. So then we should revisit the game-by-game predictions, and then we'll get to a mailbag. So if you have any questions, don't be a stranger. Get in the chat right now. Give me those questions. Hashtag Falcons or Super Chat. You jump the line. We guarantee it gets on screen for everyone to see. But right off the bat, we have 100 people watching with us right now. So shout out your city for me. I always like to give the audience 4, 5, 6 minutes to click on the notification, get to the stream. That way we don't jump into all the good stuff before everyone is in their seats. So for the next 4 to 5 minutes, let me know where you are tuning in from. I always love to kind of have a nice back and forth with the audience as we've got Mr. or Mrs. Weems in Atlanta. Yeah, Taylor Heinicke traded. Boyd is in Boise, Idaho. Carl's in ATL. I got College Park in the house here. Charles in Norfolk, Virginia. I went to Norfolk about I got it right the first time. Norfolk about 4 years ago. Went to this really cool bar where they had this orange drink and they squeeze fresh oranges every single time you order the drink. And I love orange juice, so I had that one too many times. Actually, not one too many. I didn't have it enough. Let's see. Ron is in Asheville. Jonathan's in Hampton. I got ATL coming in from Forever Kemp. Micah's in Macon, Georgia. New is in East Point, Georgia. I got some Rise Ups coming in the chant. I like it. We got someone in the Middle East. I also like how they say Middle East. They're not going to say where. Probably can't say where, but thank you for your service if you're not just pulling my leg. And God bless you. Ian's in Kansas City, Missouri. I've got DMV from Girthquake. I've fallen for that one again. Forsyth is here. Carrollton, Brookhaven, Augusta, Macon, London from Al Smith, Griffin, Georgia. Randall Cobb is forever. Randall Cobb is available, not forever. Sorry, read your first name. Yeah, he's not coming to the Falcons. He only came out of retirement basically to play with Aaron Rodgers specifically. I don't think that love goes to Kirk Cousins. Okay, college football is pretty much here. It's here for some people. It's here for Reed, although I don't think Reed wishes it was here already. He's a Florida State fan. That was a tough week one. So any Georgia Tech fans watching right now, go clown on Reed in the chat. But who is your college team? Last question or two before we start the show officially, but I just want to know who your Saturday squad is. I expect to see a lot of UGA Bulldogs in the chat right now. I just watched, right before we went live, the SEC on ABC theme song. I tweeted out, it reminds me of something you'd hear at Disney World waiting for the parade to begin over the PA system. But if you watch the 90-second, 2-minute video they released, you would think the SEC was made up of Georgia, Florida, and Texas. I saw 1 quarter-second highlight of Tennessee. Vandy got a 1/10 of a second, which that's probably more than they need anyway. But that was it. So congratulations to Georgia, Florida, and Texas for being this year's only SEC representatives. But who is your college team? I see UGA from Barry, Brazil. Mr. Fatboy going with the Bulldogs. Tyman, we got beef with someone in the chat. David Garcia and Tyman the Buckeye going with the Buckeyes. My Swanker, Boston College. Zay Zone, Ohio State. Forever Kemp saying go Dogs. UGA from Steven. I've yet to get a Tennessee Volunteer. I'm all by myself right now. Go Vols, my proud alma mater. As Buddy Bear sends in a $2 super chat. Nathan Ray, Kentucky. Huskies here. Kid's an Alabama fan. Micah, not banning time man. That's my right-handed man right there. Buddy Bear, what's going on, dude? I'm with Reed. Been an FSU guy since 1994. Have you been?
See that, Buddy Bear.
I could see Buddy Bear being in college since 1994. That kind of feels like something FSU guys do.
Yeah, I mean Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, that's really where that thought comes from. It's like
he was in there for 6 years. I think.
He was there for most of the 90s, as he put it. Like FSU feels like a school you go to for a decade, not for 4 years.
Yeah.
Which,
I went for 4.
you know what? You made it out alive.
Actually, I went for technically 4 and some change.
Oh, there it is.
But before, I was a scholar. I went in the summer before my freshman year.
I like it.
I went the other way. I went early because I was too excited.
Ty Man, because of roster cut down day, it was just too difficult to go live on Tuesday. Chris is going with Georgia Southern. Archangel's in the chat. Evan Cook wants to go get Kadarius Toney. Evan, I'm actually glad you're watching. You are a part of today's episode. So I did not expect to see you in the chat for sure, but I think you'll enjoy it. Before we get today's show underway officially, though, I do got to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey 1222, and if anyone watching wants to get added right now, $100 super chat, and we'll add you to the Dirty Birds Club, where you'll get shout-outs all 2024 season long. So big shout-out to Jose, Ken, who is the biggest Saints hater in the world, and Trey 1222. Rise up to you guys. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. Okay, are we ready to jump into today's live show? Yeah, this is what's on deck for today. Potential roster signing incoming following the Taylor Heinicke trade. Also, I thought we could take a look at the updated record prediction for the Falcons with Judon and Simmons added. Plus, I feel like this video will be a fun one to watch over the weekend, maybe in between college football games, just kind of getting ready for the NFL to get underway. And then a mailbag. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid, don't be timid. Get in the chat right now, #Falcons, or super chat. If you super chat, we guarantee your question gets on screen. As long as Mr. Girthquake changes his profile picture, it's truly terrifying to look at. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole rundown for today's episode. Jason with a $2 super chat, and it's a first-time super chatter. Jason, thank you so much for super chatting. Did we lose it? No. Jason, first-time super chatter. A little two-clap action, a little 1-2. Everyone spam Jason in the chat right now. Show him some love. First-time super chatter. Rise up, Jason. Okay, let's go and talk about what's coming after the Heinicke trade, because there's an open roster spot, and I think it should be filled with one position specifically, and it's the position we're all talking about, wide receiver. So, Jose Santana coincidentally in the chat, and Girthquake with a $2 super chat. Okay. Let's get Girthquake super chat on screen. We can work with the Girthquake part. It was the profile picture that just, man, did that push the boundaries of PG-13. I don't know if this is any better, but I feel like this is what I get when I ask for that to change. Just wanted to say I'm excited for the season. I don't think that's all you wanted to say, Girthquake. I think there was more to this than just excitement. But ask and you shall receive. I will have to take it. Okay, Girthquake, I'm excited for you. All I can think of when I see Girthquake now or see the super chat is that one scene from White Chicks where, what's the linebacker's name? Is it Terry Crews? I think it might be Terry Crews. Yeah, I think it's Terry Crews. He's like wheeling out the guy in the wheelchair after they slept in the same bed. Little me did not understand that joke at all. And then when I watched it like 10 years later, I was like, oh, I did not pick up on that joke the first time. Ayer caught a live show. Welcome aboard. Happy to have you. Let's get into our first segment, all about maybe a move coming after the Taylor Heinicke trade as a roster spot opened up. I'm ready whenever you guys are. 239 people watching right now. It's insane to see just how excited this city is for the 2024 season to get underway. I don't think Falcons fans have been this excited for a season in 6, 7, 8 years. Like probably go back to 2017 after, a disappointing end of 2016. 35 likes, though. That's abysmal. We have 200 people watching that have not liked the video yet. Hit that thumbs up button. We're not starting the show until we get to 50 likes. So hit that like button if you have not already. Jason, I do play fantasy football. I made a whole video about who you should draft in the Falcons in fantasy football. You guys asked for me to make that video, and then no one watched it. I always kind of chuckle when people get mad in the comment section. They're like, stop making these ridiculous trade videos. I'm like, for starters, it happens like once every 2.5 weeks or so, depending on like how relevant it is. But then when I don't make a ridiculous trade video, you guys don't watch it. So it's like, well, I'm trying to put food on my table here a little bit as well. All right, 66 likes. Let's get into a live edition of Falcons Today. A trade went down earlier after roster cutdown day, sending Taylor Heinicke to the LA Chargers and a 2025 conditional 6th-round draft pick to the Falcons, which can elevate to a 5th based on playing time, although if Justin Herbert is healthy, there's no way Heinicke's going to see the field, so let's just call it a 6th-round draft pick. So when that trade went down, I made a short about it, and my initial reaction to it was, good. Happy they got something for a QB3. Like, hopefully nothing bad happens to Kirk Cousins this year, but if something does happen, it's not like Taylor Heinicke's even the next man off the bench anyway. You've got Michael Penix for that. So, yeah, 6th-round draft pick's not going to move the needle a whole lot, but it's something. And while there are minor cap savings to be had, there are some cap savings to be had. Now, the moment that I put that short out, within about 5 or 10 minutes, comments like these started to flood in from Evan saying, go get Kadarius, or I hope we can sign Russell Gage, or Corey Davis, or Hunter Renfrow, or how about this one from Hunter? Let's try to sign Hunter Renfrow or Michael Thomas now. Like, these were not the only comments we got, but this was just a snapshot of what my comments looked like after they traded Taylor Heinicke. So, bravo and kudos to all of you, by the way. You're kind of becoming your own little Falcons Today reporter of, connecting the dots. They trade Heinicke. All right, what's next? Well, that's what I try to strive to answer every single day on this channel. What's next? So, which receiver do you want the Falcons to sign? We're going to talk about a couple of names, but I do want to get your thoughts early on in the comment section. Don't be afraid to scroll on down, drop a name, especially if a YouTube ad break comes on by. Don't just sit and watch the ad. While the ad's rolling, type a name. When you come back up, it should be over. Now, unfortunately, if you're wondering if the Falcons are going to go out and make a big, major splash move, unlikely. They've got $1 million in cap space. I'm not really even sure how. Like, I've looked at the numbers, and it all adds up, but still, it doesn't seem right when Kirk Cousins is the highest cap hit at just $25 million a season. Like, they have a bunch of players in between $25 and $10 million, but still, those are the numbers. I'm not making them up. Spotrac, over the cap, they both have them right around $1 million. So here are some ways to generate more cap savings if you'd like. You can restructure all these players or some of these players or just one of these players, and you'll generate this much in cap savings. Now, I will say a restructure, to keep it short, is not the player taking less money. A contract restructure is taking a player's base salary for this season, 2024, and lowering it to the vet minimum and then prorating that fat you trimmed off for the base salary over the remaining years of their contract into signing bonuses. You lower their cap hit for this year while raising future cap hits. So why do teams do this? Well, you do it to try and spend more money now to take advantage of maybe an aggressive win-now window you have, but you also do it because the NFL salary cap is always going to go up. So you got to look at salary cap hits at percentages, not the number, right? The percentage is what you want to look at because as the cap goes up, if it goes up at a higher rate than the restructures do in terms of raising future cap hits, you're actually better off doing it, as backwards as it may sound, as long as you like the player and think they're going to be here for the duration of their contract. So with that all being said, I don't see a big name coming after trading Taylor Heinicke. I don't think the Falcons are going to decide, all right, now that Heinicke's gone, let's go get a big superstar player. Like, no. One, I don't think they feel the need to go do that. Two, you're not going to find a superstar player most likely at this late stage in the game. Like, it was a miracle that Justin Simmons was still a free agent and Matthew Judon was, a trade candidate. So I don't foresee a big name like Simmons or Judon coming, but there are some recognizable names. Like, I wouldn't call any of these guys superstars. You know what I mean? Hunter Renfrow, Michael Thomas, a familiar face in Russell Gage. He was signed by the Ravens. He was cut on roster cut down day or right beforehand. Jamal Agnew is a all-pro return man, so if you want some help on special teams or speed, look at him. And then Chase Claypool, he sucks, so don't look at him. But I would say the three most notable names, Hunter Renfrow, Michael Thomas, Russell Gage. Unfortunately, Russell Gage missed 2023 due to a torn ACL, so you got to go back to 2022 for his last season. Michael Thomas and Hunter Renfrow come off down years and what's kind of been a down trajectory for them anyway over the last few years. One guy I would highlight, though, is Gage. He's got the familiarity, of course, with Atlanta and with Raheem Morris. So if the two had a good connection when they overlapped with the Falcons, that could be an easy signing and call to be made. I'm not opposed to Russell Gage coming back by any stretch. I feel like he still has some good football left in him. Now, getting released by the Ravens may point to the opposite direction, but again, it's nearly September, or it is September, depending on the time you're watching this. There's just no one that's going to come through that door and save the day for Falcons wide receiver 3 or 4. Fontenot, though, has a type. Let's start from the beginning of this offseason. Which big-name receiver did he sign? Darnell Mooney. Okay. Which type of receiver did he trade for? A speedy guy in Rondale Moore. And then when Rondale Moore went down, who did he sign? A faster guy in Jakeem Grant. Are we noticing a pattern? He's not looking for a 6'4", cinder block feet type of receivers. He wants speed. Hunter Renfrow, Michael Thomas, those speedy guys like Hunter Renfrow maybe, Thomas not really. I don't know if Fontenot wants to pursue an older, slower receiver just because at one point Michael Thomas was good and at one point Hunter Renfrow had 1,000 yards. Now, one name I have not mentioned that definitely checks the box is Kadarius Toney. There is definitely no question about his speed, right? Turn a punt in the Super Bowl to help the Chiefs win. Yeah, Toney is probably the fastest guy on the market right now with, some level of decent experience and history. However, similar to Chase Claypool, I go back to this point. He sucks. So, do you really want to sign a guy that's not that good? I mean, his rookie season with the Giants, 420 yards, he was an absolute head case. They traded him away for a third-round pick. I mean, when a team gives up on a first-round pick that quickly, there's more than just production issues, right? Teams can sometimes work through that with first-rounders and not give up so quickly. No, I think there are major character concerns that I'm just not that interested in inheriting at this point. So, yeah, Kadarius Toney is a first-round pick at one point. Sounds compelling, and the speed element is attractive, but I'll pass. Not interested in Toney. Now, next up on the show, we're going to talk about a surprise prediction that ESPN's Dan Graziano made for all 32 teams. So you're going to want to see what he had for the Atlanta Falcons. But first, I got to tell everyone watching about Factor. If you want to save some money while also maybe eating a little bit better than you normally do, then get started with Factor today because thanks to their awesome chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto, you can save time with their meals being ready in just 2 minutes without breaking the bank in the process. With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Head to factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 and use code FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code FalconsChat50 at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Go check them out today. Now, ESPN, like I said, came out with a don't be surprised if for all 32 teams. And here was Atlanta's. Don't be surprised if Tyler Algier remains an annoyance to Bijan Robinson fantasy managers. This has been a very subtle fear of mine, just from a fantasy perspective, but at the end of the day, fantasy is not what the most important thing is for the Falcons. Here's what Graziano wrote, though. Robinson is a special talent and in line to be the Falcons' starting running back and get the bulk of the work. But Algier, who has 1,718 rushing yards through 2 NFL seasons, is too good to keep off the field completely. The Falcons trust him as a pass protector, which means he could spell Robinson in the 2-minute offense, and they trust him at the goal line, especially because of his ball security. I am slightly torn on what kind of role Tyler Algier is going to have this year, because everything Dan said at the end there is accurate. Algier is good in goal line situations, short yardage situations. He's good with ball protection. He's good in pass protection. Those are really valuable traits that, sure, they don't really pop on the screen for your fantasy team, but coach does not care about your fantasy team. They want to protect the football and protect the quarterback. And if Algier can do those two things, then yeah, there's going to be a role for him on this offense. I mean, last year, though, 976 rushing yards for Bijan compared to 683, with a decent edge going to Robinson in overall carries compared to Algier. But we don't have an exact blueprint to go off of for this year, but the closest we can come to is, what did Raheem Morris and the rest of this coaching staff that come over from the Rams do last season in LA? Again, it's not apples to apples. Sean McVay's still with the Rams. It's different personnel. But the only stat I can give you is this. Kyren Williams, the Rams starting running back, received 68% of the carries in games he played last year for LA. That's a big stakehold. Like, that's a lot of the touches going to just one running back. So my prediction for this season, last year Robinson got about 47% of the carries for all players minus quarterbacks. I think we're going to see a 60-30-10 split. 60% goes to Bijan, 30% goes to Algier, and the last 10% go to maybe receivers on trick plays and other various guys getting touches in the backfield. Jace McClellan here or there, Avery Williams, for example. But I think we're going to see still a majority go to Robinson, but I could see some annoyance coming through if Tyler Algier is the guy getting the rock at the goal line because he's just a little bit better in that area. Now, before we sign off and let you guys get on with the rest of your day, help us reach our next subscriber milestone. We are sitting right below 23,800 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and do so. Lock yourself in for the best free Falcons YouTube content out there. And as always, we got to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club. Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey1222, shout out to you three for being the first members of our Dirty Birds Club. And if you want to get shout outs for the entire 2024 season, $100 super chat during our game day watch parties, and we'll throw you on screen to get shout outs all season long. Al Smith with a 5-pound super chat from across the pond. A little too, I think actually the British would prefer, they call us kind of loud in the U.S., Americans, a little soft golf clap. A little 1-2. That's very respectful to Al's culture. Al, thank you so much for your super chat, and cheers to you. Reese Atkins with a $5 super chat. Pick up Allen Robinson, Julio Jones reunion on a cheap deal. Wish we never got rid of Matt Collins, to be honest, man. Sorry, I had to drink some water. Robinson's washed, and he's slow. Nothing about that screams Terry Fontenot target. Julio Jones, I think, should just come back as a Falcon on a one-day contract next spring. I think it's time to maybe move on. I know he's a fan favorite. He's the second best player in franchise history. But I think we should let the Julio era be over with the Falcons. Matt Collins, no speed. He's big body. He doesn't wear shoes, which that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just I had to say that. But I don't think the Falcons want to rerun Matt Collins because of the style of receiver he is and the style of offense they want to go. Miguel with a $2 super chat and a first-time super chat. Everyone shout out Miguel in the chat. A little two-clap action, a little 1-2. Let's go, Miguel. Thank you so much for your super chat. Appreciate you supporting the channel. We have 322 people tuned in right now. 102 likes. Remember to hit that thumbs up button. Help grow the channel. And subscribe if you are not already. Now, next up on the show, I want to go through my updated record prediction. Also, can we just have a quick, open conversation? Is it record prediction or schedule prediction when you go through every single game and go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss?
I think you just answered your question. Win-loss projection.
No, it's not called,
Because it's not either of them. A schedule prediction is what you're assuming the teams you're going to play.
Well, like, you know who your opponents are. You don't know the order you play them in.
So, and then a record prediction is, I guess I would say record prediction.
I feel like record prediction is just the end of the season, the record.
But
the schedule is like game by game.
You're creating the record right now, though.
I guess.
You're creating it.
I always feel like it should be schedule prediction, but I think the majority say record prediction. So for title purposes, I was curious to know. No one's answered my comment question. I'm by myself right now. I'm flying solo here.
It's an in-depth record prediction.
Yeah. Autopilot's off, and I don't know where I am right now. I'm the Amelia Earhart of YouTube titles. We have an updated something prediction. Jose's going with Reed. Now the comments are flowing in. Finally getting some support. Okay. So, Chargers condition 6 for Tutu Atwell. Oh. Derry Johnson the third with a $5 super chat. Let's throw on Mr. Johnson's super chat, and then we can start our record prediction. Rise up. I haven't been this excited for our boys in a long-ass time. This super chat from Derry is not just from Derry. It's from everyone watching right now. I mean, if I had a penny for every time someone said this, oh my God. Jason with a $100 super chat! Let's go! Derry, the excitement is contagious. You got Jason on board. Screw it. I like the channel. We love you, Jason. You're going to get added to the Dirty Birds Club right now. Everyone start spamming Jason in the chat. Jason, 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 Jason. Rise up, Jason. Let's go. Week 1, I literally am crawling to right now. I am so excited for Falcons Steelers. And I can't wait to watch it with you guys too. Oh, Jason. Rise up, dude. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Jason Lundino. The big L. Lundino. That's what I'm talking about. Jason, thank you so much for your support, dude. I can't thank you enough. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's ride. Cheers to Jason, my water cup right now. I'm going to Vegas this weekend. It's my first time going to Vegas ever, which you guys don't know me yet that well, other than just being the host of this channel, but I'm a pretty big gambler, so everyone's shocked when I tell them I've never been to Vegas before, but I'm trying to, get my body in a good spot before I get there, protect this temple that is my body, and then just to completely destroy it from Friday to Monday. So
just preparing for it to get
demolished. Wrecking ball. Jose Santana. Ken Ballard. Trey 1222. And your latest addition, Jason Lundino. Let's go. And ATL, the city itself, with a $5 super chat. Jason, thank you so much again. I know I'm a broken record, but this stuff never ceases to blow my mind. Cannot appreciate you enough. We could pick up Michael Thomas on a 1-year, $8 million deal. Justin Simmons signed on a 1-year, $8 million deal, and he was an all-pro last year. Michael Thomas is going to sign maybe for a 1-year, $1.8 million deal, because I think that's the vet minimum for someone who's played this long. So, good news for you, ATL. You could get Michael Thomas, and even better news, you could save about $7.2 million from what you are, $6.2 million from what you project to get him for. Also, if you sign Michael Thomas, I think you just make him a healthy scratch except for 2 weeks in New Orleans and against New Orleans, and let him just go off. Okay. And you got to also, no, it's Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore. Never mind. Different NFC South fights between receivers and corners. Let's start with our second segment. That was weird. The record prediction. Yeah, no porn, unfortunately, on this channel. And we'll go through all 17 games and start handing out wins and losses. I'm ready when you guys are. Jason Lundino, the latest member of the Dirty Birds Club. We are so close to football getting underway. And yeah, I don't believe football is back until the NFL kicks off, because to me, that's the holy grail of football. So we're going to run through an updated record schedule prediction for the Falcons, go through all 17 games. I did this when the schedule came out, but I didn't know back then they'd have Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons. Things have changed, so let's update it. Starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I am predicting to be a win. I am beyond confident. This is what I believe to be a ship pumping in the making. The Pittsburgh Steelers come in with their tail between their legs. They're scared. They've been treading water the last couple of years, barely getting above 500, somehow sneaking into the playoffs just to get smacked around by an actual playoff team. They go out and get Russell Wilson. They're having constant quarterback turnover year after year after year. Meanwhile, the Falcons trot out Kirk Cousins, an awesome offense, Justin Simmons, and Matthew Judon to release havoc on Russell Wilson. Give me the Falcons 27-10. Week 2, I changed it. I initially had this as a loss, but over the last month, we've seen Simmons and Judon come over, which isn't going to make them win every single game. But I've also kind of just seen from afar the Eagles start to disintegrate a little bit. Fractions between Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. And yes, at home, they are exquisite under the lights of prime time. But for now, I'm thinking the Falcons shock the other birds with a win on Monday Night Football, and that completely gets rid of the curse for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. Week 3 against the Chiefs, I'll put this one down as a loss. Going to have Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Unfortunately, remind the NFL who they are still. And the Falcons don't get humbled by any stretch of the imagination, but they do pick up loss number 1. But they bounce back with a win at home against the Saints, 3-1 in the first 4 games of the season. Rise up, baby. This one's going to be an ass-kicking. I think the Saints are going to be a 6-win team, and Dennis Allen gets fired. But what is your Falcons record prediction after the first 4 games? Let me know in the comment section below what you are predicting. We got to throw the $100 super chat on. Reese Atkins interrupting the video. I could not keep that in my head.
I could not.
Reese literally broke up a video. We're going to have to make some heart surgery and put it all together. Let's get Reese's super chat on screen.
I know exactly where we're going to cut it, so it'll be fine.
A $100 super chat. The city is radiating with excitement right now. Reese Atkins, rise up. Tell him, give me my money. Let's go, Reese.
That was so funny.
Unreal.
I think you could see my face when it came in. Reese, when that came in, I was getting the next graphic ready, and I went, and I think Petey saw.
Like a little bit of how the sausage is made. You know, we make a video within a video during this live show, and so we try to go through the video uninterrupted. There was no way I was going to go for another 10 minutes or so without acknowledging a $100 super chat from Reese Atkins, ladies and gentlemen. Show Reese some love in the chat real quick. Then we'll get back to our record prediction. Reese, thank you so much for your super chat. You are the 5th member of the Dirty Birds Club. We'll get your name with the rest of them on screen in just a moment as Reed puts it all together. Reese, I don't know how my turned into that LMAO. Oh, I'm guessing you had the little Italian emoji. Yeah, I don't know why we get some Chinese characters on screen there, but Reese Atkins, tell him, give me my money. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, let's show the updated Dirty Birds Club super quickly, and then we will get back. Grand Limousine. Let's hit your super chat too afterwards, and then I promise we have more of my record prediction to get to. But a $100 super chat gets you added to the club with Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey 1222, Jason Lundino, and Reese Atkins, ladies and gentlemen. Rise up to you five especially. And to everyone watching right now, thank you so much for all of your support, whether you super chat, comment, like, share, whatever it may be. Mwah, I love you all. Grand Limousine, a $20 super chat. Best place to get a limousine in Atlanta, the unofficial limousine partner of Falcons Today. Thank you so much for your support. Grand Limousine has been rocking and rolling with us well before Kirk Cousins got here, well before the excitement really turned up a notch or two. Grand Limousine, OG of the channel. Reese Atkins, now forever ingrained in this channel's history, part of the Dirty Birds Club. Okay. Yeah, that's why I did a nice little pause. Okay. No, we can just go after. We'll just go after. I know. Okay. We'll start right here. All right. We ready to get back in the video? 3, 2. Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. All right. I guess I'll have some water then. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. After beating the Saints in Week 4, give me back-to-back NFC South wins, taking down the Bucs on Thursday Night Football. For Matty Ice getting his jersey retired as well. And you know what? Why stop there? Week 6 at the Panthers. Call it a dub. Another one. Now the Falcons are rolling. Through 6 weeks, they are 5-1, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. However, it does come to an end there. Week 7 versus the Seahawks, a loss. We actually have a different Fanatics really quickly read. If you can move that over, that's okay. Week 7 versus Seahawks. I'm going to say this one's a loss only because there's always going to be one or two like came out of nowhere surprise ones, and this might be one of those. Actually, yeah, we might as well just pause it. You guys really get to see how this video is made. Usually it's actually a lot smoother than this, but I had a different product, and I forgot to communicate that to Reese. So that's my fault.
Reese has got us amped up.
Dude, I kind of lost my focus after that one. I also lost all of our viewers because of that, so that's my bad. But we're going to power through the rest of this record prediction. I am just like smiling ear to ear with, the very top one. That's my fault. Kyle. Hey, PD, put Grand Limousine in the Dirty Bird Club. I know he's donated well over 100. I had to, start fresh somewhere. Otherwise, everyone would want to get grandfathered in. So, by no means am I trying to screw Grand Limousine over. But if I open the doors to Grand Limousine, I'm going to have a lot of other people coming from the history book saying, well, I want in now. So, just want to start fresh right now. But we'll get Grand Limousine in at some point, I'm sure of it. Okay. Are we ready to pick things up again? Just push this one across, and we'll go from there. All right, ready? Week 7, I'm going to have the Falcons come crashing down to earth after a 5-1 start. A surprising loss to the Seahawks. Seattle's not a better team than Atlanta, but every single year there's always going to be one or two games that even the best teams kind of get away from them. So I'll take a shot in the dark and say how did they lose that game? Is this one right here. And then Week 8 at Tampa Bay, maybe we see them snowball a little bit. Maybe they felt like they were on top of the world after a 5-1 start. Now they're sitting at 5-3 going into the second half of the season, but they're hungry to keep on winning more games. Now, which game do you want to go to? Let me know in the comment section below whether it's the home opener, maybe it's the Chiefs game on Sunday night, maybe it's the Bucs game on Thursday night. Let me know down below which game you would love to go to. I'd love to see all the different games put in the comment section. Moving on to Week 9, I'm going to have them also drop this one against the Dallas Cowboys. This is not a time to panic, but this is a little bit of okay, we've got some issues to work out, some kinks to work through, but they can bounce back by knocking off the New Orleans Saints on the road with a win in Week 10. So after losing to the Cowboys, give me a Saints win in Week 10 to sweep the Aints, baby. That one's for Ken Ballard. Week 11, now we're starting to get back into a tough stretch here. On the road in Denver, approaching winter, late November, early December. It's going to be chilly. It's going to be tough for a Southern team to compete at the elements, so I'll say the home field advantage for the Broncos will take them over the top. Now, before we look at the rest of the schedule prediction here, make sure to check out this awesome deal we have running right now over at Fanatics. When you go to chatsports.com/Falcons Polo, you can get this polo 50% off. Just half off right now. So don't wait any longer because these deals tend to come and go. Sizes may run out. So chatsports.com/Falcons Polo. Be like me. You know I love my polos, and get one half off today. Week 12, they have a bye. So after kind of losing some of their early momentum with a few losses in a row and some seesawing back and forth, they catch their breath, setting themselves up for a Week 13 win. Sorry, I got the color wrong. That's my fault, against the Chargers. So that one's a win. My mistake. But a win against the Chargers in hopefully what's going to be a nice run to close out the year. Because Week 14, it's Kirk Cousins' home return to Minnesota, where he beats the Vikings. I've got Kirk Cousins knocking off Minnesota with his new team against his former team. So that sets up a nice day in Las Vegas on the road, Monday Night Football. Called another win. We've got 3 in a row right now. Chargers, Vikings, Raiders. Giants are up next, and they are cruising. A win against the New York Football Giants. However, I've got a loss coming against the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels and company are actually going to be pretty good. Dan Quinn, we know, is a good coach. He's not bad. Unfortunately, he may not be the greatest coach, but I still think he's going to get this Washington team turned around real quick. But all that setting up to a Week 18 finale at home for a win against the Carolina Panthers. So, after going through the entire season, I've got the Falcons going 11-6, winning the NFC South, hosting a playoff game for the first time in almost a decade, and in the wild card round, welcoming the Dallas Cowboys and beating Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, sending Mike McCarthy packing and Jerry Jones and the Cowboys fan base in shambles. Sadly, the fun ends here. I think they would then lose to the San Francisco 49ers in the divisional round, who then would go on to play in the NFC Championship game and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm really struggling to figure out who the 49ers are going to play in this game. Maybe it's the Falcons if they kind of get on the right side of the bracket and whatnot, but I don't think the Eagles are going to be that good this year. So I kind of just had to pick a team that made some level of sense. But in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, 49ers defeat the Baltimore Ravens. That is my Super Bowl prediction for this year. The Niners came so close last year. I think they are going to get it done this year. So that is my schedule and record prediction for the Dirty Birds. 11-6 in a playoff win in year one for Raheem Morris and Kirk Cousins. How can you not be excited about the direction this team is headed after that? But predict the Falcons record for me down below. A few months ago, I had them going 10-7. I truly do believe adding Simmons and Judon gets you to 11-6. That was the longest and most chaotic schedule prediction video I've ever done. Girthquake's going to the Commanders game. That's really cool. That one's on the road, is it not? Or is that home? I already forgot. Yeah, that's my fault. 11-6 feels very, very much in reach here. I had losses to the Chiefs, to the Seahawks, to the Cowboys, to the Commanders, and then I had 2 more. I had one to the Bucks, and then what was my other loss I had? Here, flash up really quickly. It was yeah. What was my other loss? Chiefs, Seahawks, Bucks. Keep going. Oh, Broncos. Thank you. Broncos, Commanders, Cowboys. Yes. Okay. 11-6. Seems like a pretty good season for a team that's gone 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. Probably another 7-10 I forgot already. And they sweep the Saints. So there's a lot to like about that record prediction. Okay, we have a mailbag coming up next, so get your questions in, #Falcons or Super Chat. We've had a lot of crazy Super Chats today. If you want to make it one more, I won't stop you. Reese and Jason sending in $100 Super Chats to get added to the Dirty Birds Club. If you want to join the club, $100 super chat, and we'll toss your name on screen for the entire season like them. Or if you want to super chat any amount just to get on screen to ask a question, by all means, feel free to do so. If you can't super chat, not a problem at all. Hashtag Falcons in the chat. You have to put hashtag Falcons somewhere in your question, though, beginning, middle, end. That way our software can find the comment, pull it, and put it on screen. Okay. Jason thinks it's spot on, but I do have Atlanta winning the NFC at plus 1,500. I mean, think about last year. Who had the Lions going all the way to the NFC Championship game? Like, they were kind of a dark horse to, like, maybe win the NFC North, wet their beak, but lose in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. Surely not win 2 playoff games. Why can't the Falcons do the same thing, right? Look at the AFC last year. You had C.J. Stroud taking the Texans, who were the second worst team in football, all the way to the AFC divisional round against the Ravens. There are a lot of examples of teams kind of coming up and not just like entering the dance, but like making some noise there. Miguel, appreciate your question. I see Mr. Rivers has a question. Okay. Are we ready to jump into our mailbag? Okay. Let's do it. If you think of a question and you're dying to ask it, Archangel with the super chat. Archangel, I would say, is the longest running viewer of this channel. Like, Archangel, let me know when you subscribed, and I want to see if anyone can beat it, if you remember. But just win, baby. Are we a Raiders channel now? But I like the messaging. I like it. We got Time Man the Buckeye was here earlier. Did he? Time Man, are you still here? Like it's not working for him? Time Man, what's the issue with the Eagles? Chase just popped in the studio. We're working on it.
I looked at that.
You want to tell him?
Timon, we don't have you blocked. I'm not sure what's going on, why you can't comment on the channel, but I'll figure it out.
We're working on it. Time Man, you actually came up in our company meeting yesterday. No joke. We were like, we should get some more Time Mans for other channels. So you were a founding father of helping us out in the chat. Okay. Archangel, shout out to you. Rise up, Archangel. Let's get into our mailbag now and answer any questions you guys have. Super chat, you'll skip the line, we'll toss it on. All the super chats with questions read, bump them up, and then anyone without a question in it, just put them at the end of the video. Okay. All right, Time Man, when I finish this live, I'll go and see what's going on with the Eagles because I'm not really sure what the situation is, so I can't help too much right now. But let's get into a live mailbag right now. Mailbag time here on Falcons Today. I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which runs every single Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. So our first question coming in revolves around Brandon Ayuk and the San Francisco 49ers, as we might see a trade go down. Let's just start over. Okay. You ready? Take 2. You guys are really seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly today. 3, 2, 1. Mailbag time here on Falcons Today. I'm answering questions that came in during our live show, which runs every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Our first question comes in from Just in Time. Any chance the Falcons join the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes? Well, like I said, we're recording this right now, Thursday afternoon, so if something changed, just roll with me. But my initial reaction to this is no. I think the Falcons are content with the big moves they have made so far, like Judon and Simmons. And even if Ayuk continues to stretch out longer and other teams that didn't feel like they had a chance then kind of pop into the running going, well, if there's been this much or this lack of progress made from the 49ers and Ayuk, maybe we will toss our name in the hat and see if we can be a dark horse at the very end of this process. But the issue with trading for Brandon Ayuk is it's not just about giving the 49ers what they want. You also got to give Brandon Ayuk a contract he is looking for. And I think he wants the first number of that contract to be a 3. I think the 49ers don't want to be at a 3. I think they're looking at that 26 to 29 range. And initially, I was kind of on board with giving Ayuk something that started in the $30 million club. But look at who's in the $30 million club. Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill. After one incredible season from Ayuk and only 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons, like, we really ready to give him $32, $33 million a year? Like, I think Ayuk is really, really good, and the second-team All-Pro last year shows. But I don't know if I'm ready to commit just that much money to him. So, what do you guys think? Would you trade for Brandon Ayuk? You'd have to, I'd imagine, give back a receiver, but they don't really have a receiver to give back, so you'd probably have to make up with that with extra draft capital. I personally would be, excited if they got Brandon Ayuk on one hand, but also really anxious to see what they gave up to get him. So for now, as fun as it would be to get Ayuk, I think it'd actually be not the worst thing in the world if they sat this one out and just rolled with Drake London and Darnell Mooney. And maybe I regret that in a few years, but I think this could be one where if the Falcons get it done, cool, like it's a superstar player in some ways, but also they could be saving themselves a little bit of a financial headache. Reese Atkins with a $5 super chat. Pick up Allen Robinson. Julio Jones remains on a cheap deal. A reunion on a cheap deal. Wish we never got rid of Matt Collins, to be honest, man. Allen Robinson's just washed. Like, he has completely fallen off a cliff since 2020 onwards. I'm not really interested in Allen Robinson. He couldn't make the Giants 53-man roster. They don't have a whole lot of good receivers there. That says a lot if he couldn't crack it. Julio Jones, I think, is probably best just not coming back to Atlanta if it's on a one-day contract. Would it be cool on some levels? Yes. Is it what Atlanta needs right now? An old receiver who has reoccurring soft tissue injuries? Probably not. So I'm okay to kind of move on from the Julio Jones era. And as for Matt Collins, the Falcons want speed at that position. Like, they went out and got Darnell Mooney. They traded for Rondale Moore. They signed Jakeem Grant. It's not a coincidence that all three of those guys are really freaking fast. Matt Collins is just not in that same group at all. ATL, next one up. We could pick up Michael Thomas on a 1-year, $8 million deal. I think you can get Michael Thomas on a $1.8 million deal. I think he's going to sign for the vet minimum somewhere. Maybe some incentives are tossed in, but it's not going to cost you nearly that much, ATL. Appreciate the question, though, and definitely keep an eye on that because Michael Thomas is a noteworthy name, although I think he's kind of washed. Dat one Falcons fan. Imagine the Falcons and pull a funny by bringing back Ritter. Also, how many sacks for the team this season? Well, Desmond Ritter was signed to the Cardinals practice squad, by the way. I did see a lot of people talk about that. You can't go from practice squad to practice squad. If you want to sign Desmond Ritter, you have to sign him to your active 53-man roster as long as he is on the Cardinals practice squad. And how many sacks for the team this year? What did they have last year? Like 29? They had 22 the season before that. I think they had 29 this past season, 28, 29. I'll say they get up to 39. Let's add 10 more sacks from what they had the year before with Matthew Judon coming over. Dat one Falcons fan, appreciate your question. Okay, we're going to talk about our friends over at Factor next because they have an awesome deal for Falcons fans. If you're looking to maybe eat a little bit healthier while also saving some money and most importantly, arguably, saving a lot of time, Factor has so many great options for Falcons fans. Treat yourself to restaurant-quality meals that feature premium ingredients like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon. Meet your wellness goals in time for football season thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals are dietitian-approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. Enjoy effortless support for your lifestyle. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well-balanced. Head to factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 and use code FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code FalconsChat50 at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Griff, do you know the QB from Carrollton, Georgia? He's the #1 high school QB in the country. I don't, Like, hand up, I've never been good at recruiting, like, especially in NCAA. But just even from my own, like, personal college football fandom, I've never been one that's kept up well with the recruiting trail. Like, the big names come into my brain, and then I forget about them. So, no, unfortunately, I do not. Carson, trade the Heinicke pick for Tutu Atwell. He's fast. He was a second-round pick by the Rams in 2020 or 2021. 2021, I think it was. Yeah, he's definitely got speed, and I could see the Rams being open to trading him. They just traded Ernest Jones away, which we talked about him on the channel. If he balls out for the Titans, I'll be a little salty that Atlanta did not make a push for him to reunite him and Raheem Morris. But regardless, I'm not heavily opposed to trading for Tutu Atwell, but like, just keep in mind, Tutu Atwell as a receiver has not been, well, to be honest, good. Like, sure, it's always fun to kind of latch on to speed and high draft pick. He missed his entire rookie season, 2021, although I don't think it was due to injury. I just think he was a healthy scratch. Yeah, he played 8 games. Maybe he missed some due to injury. But in 2022 and 2023, combined for 4 touchdowns. Last year, 483 yards, 39 grabs. So it's worthy of exploring. I don't think he's going to give you much production. Kyle Fleener, do you think we go after someone in a trade either now or at the trade deadline? If so, who are you on thinking? Who am I thinking? I would say probably the trade deadline, right? The Falcons, like if you think about it from Terry Fontenot's perspective, this might be a bad analogy, but hear me out for a moment. He put together a menu, right? And he has a brand new restaurant opening September 8th with a bunch of Steelers fans coming to dine, okay? He wants to see how that menu is holding up for the first few weeks of that restaurant's launch. And then he'll notice, okay, people keep asking for pizzas and we don't have pizzas. So let's go out and get a pizza. Now that I have got some data after the first 6, 7, 8 weeks of the season, I can better understand what my needs are. Sometimes your needs are so obvious before the season starts, like a pass rusher and Matthew Judon, that you don't have to wait for the season to start. I think Fontenot likes the roster he has constructed, and he wants to wait and see if A, does he need some help at a position due to injury, and B, why give up draft assets for a position that maybe you don't need help at and your current group is good as is. So I would say at the deadline. Now, who could that be? It's really difficult to say just because you got to speculate or guess who's going to stink. Like, who's going to be a seller at the NFL trade deadline? One possible name, this would be a reach, T. Higgins. Like, if the Bengals are mediocre and they know they're not bringing Higgins back, maybe they go after him then if he becomes available. So you would need the Bengals to be mediocre, though. Miguel, if Atlanta and the 49ers do want to go ahead and trade, go ahead with the trade for Ayuk, what do you think it would take to get him? Good question, Miguel. I would think the 49ers would want a player in return at wide receiver. The Falcons really don't have a receiver to offer. Like, they're not giving up London or Darnell Mooney. You want Ray McLeod back? He was there last year, and he was a special teamer for them. So I don't think they're going to all of a sudden look at him as this great receiver when he wasn't viewed that way last year. Kadeo Hodge and rookie Casey Washington aren't moving the needle much at all. So I don't think there's really a receiver the Falcons can offer. Maybe they can offer an offensive lineman like Caleb McGarry and help shore up that offensive line, especially if Trent Williams is injured holding out. So even then, I don't think the Falcons are rushing to trade away Caleb McGarry, although he's a really good run blocker compared to a pass blocker, which would probably be a better fit in the 49ers system. But I would say from a draft pick perspective, if you're not giving up a player like McGarry, we're looking at a 2025 first-round draft pick and probably like a 2026 second-round pick. That seems steep. Maybe a 2025 first and a 2026 third. But Brandon Ayuk went for a first. And like Stephon Diggs, when he was traded kind of on the same age of his career, he went for a first and some extra day 3 picks. It's probably going to be somewhere in that neighborhood. Jason, next one up on the show. What's your over-under for Bijan and yards? Sunny San Diego, rise to F up. CLNS. Always makes me laugh. I'll say Robinson, after a 976-yard rookie season, rushes for 1,212 yards and makes 400 yards through the air and 10 total touchdowns. 7 on the ground, 3 through the air. Last question coming in from Jolond Rivers. Do you think the Falcons will lead the NFL in takeaways? I mean, they literally have the NFL's tied for first takeaway leaders the last 2 seasons on the team. Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates. Now, in order to lead the NFL in takeaways, you need some help in the forced fumbles category, which is kind of a different conversation. But I think they've got playmakers to be top 5 in takeaways. Like, I think they can absolutely achieve that this season. So maybe not number 1, but I'll go with top 5 this year for sure. To wrap up the video, though, who you got? Falcons or Steelers? Week 1 can't get here soon enough. Give me your prediction down below in the comment section.
So, Carson, he's asking, do you have the link to the Falcons polo? I couldn't put it in the chat because I didn't have it at
I got the
time.
link to the Falcons polo.
So if you want to throw it in the chat.
You ready, Carson? Coming in hot. It's a pretty cool polo, isn't it? I was like, 50% off? Okay. I'm seeing a lot of ATLs. Lav, Jose, Archangel, Kyle, Jay the Creator, Carson, Jason Greenway, Boyd Severe, Ty Man the Buckeye. Get those ATLs going in the comment section below. All right, everyone. That will do it for us on our live show today. Thank you all so much. A big, big thank you going to Reese Atkins and Jason Landino for joining the Dirty Birds Club with a $100 super chat. And we got a $5. So if we keep the super chats rolling, we can keep the studio space. We are going to be going under some massive company expansion. It's like the Berlin Wall is next door. We're going to knock it down and, manifest destiny, this baby. But until then, I wouldn't say there's a shortage of studios, but there's more hosts than studios. Matthew Fulton, what's going on, Matthew Fulton? I'm attending the home opener. Falcons will score at least 30 points. Shout out to my lovely wife, Janae Fulton. Shout out to the Fultons for going to the game. Have fun. Enjoy like a $2 hot dog. It's the best deal in all of sports. But yeah, I like the prediction. There's going to be a lot of points scored for the Falcons. Give me Atlanta with 30. I like it, Matthew. Thank you so much. Rise up. Enjoy the game. Appreciate you supporting the channel. And shout out to your lovely wife, Janae Fulton, who I am sure the comment section will not be inappropriate about because we're all going to be mature adults here. Okay. John Mechie signed up. Oh, we're talking about John Mechie now. Lav, we need a studio tour. The whole office or like the one studio we're in right now? There's one studio we're in right now is probably, I'm not very good at square footage, but I would estimate it's imagine if you combine your bathroom and closet. That's probably the size of this. But we can do a whole office tour. My boss usually on NFL Sunday week 1 does one of those videos where he walks through the whole office and goes from studio to studio to studio. So that would give you a good look at it. Okay. Jose, appreciate you, as always, hanging out with us. We will let you guys get on with the rest of your Thursday. I've got my future mother-in-law and I guess grandmother-in-law, is that the term, in town. They flew in from Atlanta today. Shout out to Delta for delaying them for 2 hours, and I had to hear about it as if I was responsible. So that was my morning.
Yeah, why didn't you tell the airport?
Yeah, I know. I'm actually pretty good at flight tracking because my dad's a pilot, so I use the app. I was on the app that everyone uses to track college football coaches' planes way before it was cool. So what I love to do is your flight's delayed. Okay, let's figure out why and see where your aircraft was coming from and if that flight was delayed. And then we can kind of get to the root cause of it. I like Delta, though. My favorite airline, I'd say. Okay. We will let you guys get on out of here. Rise up. Thank you to everyone for watching with us. To everyone that super chatted, every single one of you guys, thank you so much for supporting us here. And I'll see you all next time.